Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 327 of our trip around the United States. We stopped off in Albany last night, got some rest, cleaned up, and are ready to continue on our journey through the western side of Oregon today. After popping out of Albany, we're starting our morning here in Corvallis. We're going to be spending quite a little bit of time here because there's 3 adventure labs here, 2 of them focusing on the sculptures around town and 1 of them focusing on the murals. In addition to that, there's a virtual and a webcam for us to find in town. So we're gonna be taking the time to go through all that because you know I love me some murals, you know I love me some sculptures, and there's no way I'm gonna pass up on a webcam unless it's not functional, and fingers crossed that it is. Once we finish up here, we've got 290 miles to cover for the day. We've already covered about 90 of that, coming east out of Salem to the pages we needed over there before coming back into Albany. From here in Corvallis, we're gonna be making our way to the coast, dropping down south just a little bit, and then swinging back in east again to bring our evening to an inn in Eugene. We have a lot of targets on the list today, but most of them are between here in Corvallis and in Eugene. So we're gonna get to as many of them as we can, but my suspicion is that the day is gonna be coming to an end by the time we get to Eugene, and we're probably gonna have to cut a lot of that target list. Either way, a lot of good geocaches in front of us on this stretch of roadway to the coast and back around to Eugene. So let's see what it has in store. Come on, let's go.
Our day begins in Albany, the county seat of Linn County, with a population of about 56,000 people. From within the Willamette Valley, this city looks on at the confluences of the Calicoia and the Willamette rivers. We did not stay in the city very long though. We made a quick trip down Main Street, headed into the northwest corner to visit a virtual and old carousel, and then we were on our way down the road. Still along the banks of the Willamette River, we drop into the city of Corvallis, the county seat of Benton County, with a population of about 61,000 people. Unlike Albany, we would be spending quite a bit of time in this city, spurred on by a virtual, a webcam, some highly favored traditionals, and a series of adventure labs that concentrate on the history, sculptures, and murals around the city. In 1846, Joseph Avery became the first person that would settle and would one day become the city of Corvallis. In June of that year, he constructed a log cabin to stake his claim on a piece of land at the mouth of the Marys River. He soon departed for California to try his hand at mining some gold, but returned in January of 1849, opening up a store, platting the land, and naming the community Marysville. Half of the statues we would pursue were scattered around the downtown area, while the other half lined the walkway at Riverfront Commemorative Park. This beautiful 12-acre park, dedicated in 1994, stretches along the banks of the Willamette River. Even without the stages of the Adventure Lab to guide us, this park is more than worth taking a trip through. But with the stages of the Adventure Lab, it is the no-brainer. This was the perfect way to ensure Ai-chan got her exercise for the day, and I suspect she appreciated the statues almost as much as I did. The urban environment, coupled with some creative hiders, gave us the chance to track down some rather unique geocache hides. This one might have thrown me for a loop for a minute, if not for the letters GC carved right into the host hiding the logbook. I thought I was in business once I had cracked the code on this directional lock, but it turns out I was only just beginning. It turns out that lock was just the first in a series of locks that I would have to get through to get to the logbook. At this point, my intuition told me the logbook probably wasn't in the second cupboard, and sure enough, there's another key to open yet another lock. The whole time, I could practically hear the 2 puppies behind the plexiglass just laughing away.
We've seen our fair share of locked geocaches before, but never one quite so well protected. It has to have a lock, within a lock, within a lock. That's pretty good.
To finish off our tour of the city, we drop in to see Oregon State University, established on October 27th of 1868. This sprawling campus, located on the west side of the city, was chartered as the state's first public college. And the over 37,000 students enrolled make it the largest university in the state. Being here on the morning, on a weekday, we see thousands of those students milling about and moving from one class to the next. With any other geocache, I would have just skipped out on the campus. But we came here pursuing a webcam, and I wasn't going to leave until we completed our mission. We found a good parking spot, walked our way through the stages of an adventure lab, and slowly but surely made our way to the ground zero.
And that is it. Our main objective here in Corvallis at the Oregon State University is complete. A webcam shot with a library in the background, and it really doesn't get any clearer than this for webcams. As you're walking up, you can clearly see the camera. facing right onto the ground zero. So all you have to do is line yourself up for a good shot and smile wide for the camera.
We arrived to the coast in the city of Newport with a population of about 10,000 people and follow the guiding light provided by the Yaquina Head Lighthouse. The outstanding natural area here juts out a mile from the coast into the Pacific Ocean, with the lighthouse, the tallest in the state, standing at 93 feet. First lit on August 20th of 1873, this lighthouse has been guiding ships along the coast ever since. Automated in 1966, the light now maintains a steady rhythm which allows ships off the coast to easily identify it. The nearby interpretive center, of course, teaches visitors all about the lighthouse, but also provides exhibits on seabirds, marine life, and human history here in the headland. While the first settlers did not begin to homestead in the area until 1864, members of the Yaquina tribe have a history that dates back in the region well over 3,000 years. The tribe has faded away with the passage of time, but their memory lives on with the names given to the river, the bay, and the lighthouses here. Following the coast to the south end of the city, we drop in on our second objective here, the Yaquina Bay Light, built in 1871. At the time of its construction, this was the single busiest and most populated of any of the coastal ports found between Washington and California. Built by Ben Simpson, this light first shone out over the Oregon coast on November 3rd of 1871, but only saw activity for 3 years before the Yaquina Head Light was established in 1873. The newer lighthouse immediately made this one obsolete, leading to its decommissioning on October 1st of 1874. That's not to say it didn't see any use though, with the Army Corps of Engineers using it as living quarters from 1888 to 1896 while building the jetties at the mouth of Yaquina Bay, and the Coast Guard living there from 1906 to 1915. Ai-chan patiently waited for me right outside while I toured the interior, ready to get up and head down to the beach as soon as I was done. I doubt she minded very much though, as the weather out here is simply gorgeous, especially when compared with the rainy day we had just yesterday. One look out over the nearby rocky coast, and it's easy to see why this lighthouse was necessary in the first place. But I didn't talk Ai-chan into walking all the way down to the beach just to soak in the view. No, we came here to find a very cleverly hidden geocache. From there, we would spend most of the rest of our day heading south along the coast, with the Pacific Ocean always waving at us out from the west. We may not have had any targets to pursue in Walport, but when we saw this beautiful coastal city with a population of about 2,000 people, we couldn't resist the urge to go exploring, even if just a little bit. This little gem where the forest meets the sea saw its first settlers come in 1879. A large majority of those settlers were of German descent, where the name Walport originates from. Wald refers to the many trees and forests in the area, while the port, of course, refers to the close proximity of this town to the Pacific Ocean. What's nice about this drive along US Highway 101, here known as the Oregon Coast Highway, is that there are a ton of spots to be able to stop off and enjoy the view out over the ocean. We were already aware of where many of these scenic viewpoints might be because there are a series of earth caches all along this stretch of road. Each of the listings provided a very welcome opportunity to stop the car once again and soak in the view from a different angle. One of my favorite stops along this coastal drive was the Cape Perpetua Overlook, which towers 800 feet over the protected Marine Garden shoreline below. From the top of the headland, it's possible to see more than 40 miles out to sea and 70 miles along the coast. It also didn't hurt that there was a virtual at the top of the viewing area, encouraging us to walk out on the trail.
Those sea lions far below us look like they are having a high-o time out there in the tide. I kind of want to go join them, but I don't think they'd take too long away. What do you think?
At the Darlingtonia State Natural Site, Ai-chan and I both hop out of the car and take a stroll down the boardwalk in pursuit of an earth cache. While I had thoroughly researched each of my targets during the planning process more than a year ago, I intentionally didn't look at what each of the virtuals and earth caches on my list were before arriving so that I could be surprised. This listing is the perfect example of why I did that, because once we reached the end of the boardwalk, I was pleasantly surprised by what it had to offer. This 18-acre park is dedicated to the preservation of a single plant species, the Darlingtonia californica, also known as the cobra lily. This is the only species of pitcher plant to be found in the entire state, and a nightmare for any bug unwise enough to fly through the fen. Before we begin our trek inland toward Eugene, we make one last coastal city stop in Florence with a population of about 10,000 people. This city had come into the national spotlight in a hilarious way in 1977 when the city council passed an ordinance making intercourse illegal. Not too far out of Eugene, we make our last stop of the day at the Fern Reservoir along the Long Tom River. This is the time of day where Ai-chan gets her second wind and really wants to get out there and hit the trails, so I decided to do exactly that. We follow the trail out at a good clip, making a couple of finds along the way and then settling down for a view to bring things to a close.
All right, that does it for another day on the road here in Oregon, and it was a beautiful day, especially when compared to yesterday. Whereas yesterday it was raining on us all day long, and pretty much every time we got out of the car we were getting drenched. Today we only had brief showers here and there, and we drove through them for the most part. We began our morning in Albany, and we didn't stay there too long. We popped out of the city and made our way into Corvallis. There we stayed for quite a bit. We visited the county courthouse, did a bunch of adventure labs to explore the murals and the statues, the webcam, Oregon State University campus, and then finally decided to get off our miles for the day. We made it over to the coast and we got to go on a lighthouse tour while making our way along the coast, enjoying each of the unique viewpoints as we progressed going south. We've turned inland from there and are just shy of hitting Eugene, but the sun's starting to go down on us, and we're finishing our day off here at the Fern Ridge Wildlife Area with a walk out on the trails to wear down the rest of our energy. There's not enough daylight for us to take on Eugene, and I want to give the city the time it deserves. So we're going to go ahead and find a spot to bed down and get ready to start the day again first thing in the morning tomorrow, exploring the city. Thank you guys for joining us as we made this tour in along the coast of Oregon. What a beautiful tour it was too. Like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.